Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Players Corner. Today we have a extremely special guest. Mr. Matthew Butler of the Miami Dolphins is joining us today. Let's bring him in. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
One day I'm gonna have sound where you can like clap when people come in. We're a
Yeah,
one-woman show over here, so we'll get a production team soon.
I hear you.
So how's it going? How you feeling?
I'm well. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. But I want to talk to you because I want to get people familiar with you, where you come from. You came from you played college ball in Tennessee, and where you are now. And we'll talk a little bit about your journey. But tell me first about your college career.
Yeah. So in 2017 and late 2016, I made the decision to go to the University of Tennessee, and I
Hmm.
spent 5 years there. I feel like that's my second home. Just amazing journey there. Obviously tumultuous at times, but I became a man at Tennessee, and going to Tennessee for the first time and seeing that big poster of Reggie White and seeing just all of the resources that the football program had, how they were willing to help me on my education journey, how it wasn't a plan B. There's plan A and plan A with football and our academics, and just the support that they had all up and down the whole entire program, just from nutrition, uh, athletic development, uh, you know, mental development, obviously football development, uh, resources as far as our medical program and everything else, keeping us healthy as athletes. It was second to none. So it was a very easy decision. After a lot of prayer, I made the decision. I don't regret it, not once.
Now I feel like this episode is going to be a lot about transition and how you've moved through your career here and the thing that you're doing now. But when you decided to go into the league to commit to that, what was that decision like? Was it something that you knew from the beginning when you went to Tennessee that I want to go to the league, or was it something that progressed throughout your college career?
So it's something that, like, obviously, when you're a kid, you're like, man, I want to go to the NFL.
Hmm.
But I remember the moment like it was yesterday. In the eighth grade, when we're doing summer program for middle school, I had come from like a private school that didn't have football, and I
Hmm.
had gone there basically since I started school, and I was actually also homeschooled for 2 years. So
Okay.
all the football I played was Pop Warner, rec league, stuff like that. Never like with the school or anything. So the eighth grade, we were running, and I'm talking about dog tired.
Mm.
I don't know what we were doing, but it's probably illegal to do now. And I just remember in my head, like, kind of getting a second wind. I was like, I want to do this like as long as I can. And I just made a decision right there. Like in my head, I'm like, nobody's stopping me. Like, I'm gonna have to get to the NFL. Like, this is not really an option for me. This is what I'm going to do. And
Mhm.
from then on, it was just like, obviously you hit your ups and downs and your turmoil and your difficulties and everything in between. But I never second guessed like what I wanted to do. There was never do I want to do this? Like, no, it's always what I wanted to do. So,
Yeah.
after my fourth year in college, I considered coming out just because I had the tools, and we were in some rough patches in Tennessee with the coaching transition and some of the circumstances surrounding that coaching transition. But ultimately, I decided to stay, and I
Mhm.
think it was a phenomenal decision. I got to be coached under the tutelage of two really good coaches,
Mhm.
and I had a ton of great coaches. I discredit none of them. I love all of them. But Coach Heupel and Coach Garner gave me some great expertise as far as my game personally, and they exhibited great leadership for the program. Something that I was able to take with me to the NFL, and I think I'm taking it into my life also.
Awesome. Awesome. So you got drafted, you spent some time in Las Vegas. I want to talk about that. How was that again transition, right? From being that college athlete, a student athlete, to now being, I want to say adult, although you were adult when you were in college, but it's like a different level of adulthood
Yeah.
when you go off to the state which you're playing for. So how was that transition?
So that transition was probably one of the tougher transitions of
Mhm.
tough times in my life, period. I think it really caused a heart shift and a mental shift and even a physical shift just in my whole entire life. From 2020 to about 2023, myself, my wife, my daughter, and my daughter's mother all went through, a custody situation. And that was happening in college. I mean, I had so many people in my corner helping me, helping my wife, helping, our daughter, you know, in that situation. And that was really tough. And then you're going into the draft still dealing with that, still driving back and forth, making sure that, my daughter, her name's Cameron, is able to see her mom and making sure that everything is smooth and making sure that we're doing things properly. And now Cameron has transitioned down here to Miami from Vegas with us. And during all that time, I'm learning how to turn the other cheek at times. I'm learning how to be patient. I'm learning what it means to be a father, what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a man, what it means to have relationships and be decent and kind and loving to people who, you don't see eye to eye with. And
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of these circumstances, situations, you're wondering like, why do I have to deal with all this? I haven't done anything wrong, whatever case may be. Man, I just want to focus on ball.
Mm-hmm.
But these circumstances have brought my family closer. They've made me have a new appreciation for my family and the unity and the bond that we share and that God has given us, and also a greater appreciation for this game that God has blessed me to be talented at, but then also use my talent, my platform to, promote things that are good, that are godly, that are, good for all of humanity and the people around me. So, it's a blessing in disguise, as cliche as it sounds.
Yeah.
And, I look back and I can remember how I felt then, but I just know how I feel now. And it truly was a blessing. Sometimes the blessings are in our hardest challenges and in our greatest sufferings. So that's how that
Yeah.
goes.
What I love is because I don't think people give enough credit to that transition, of coming out of college to the NFL, because yes, it is the dream, and then there's a, again, growing up that you have to do as an individual, and then you saying I had not just growing up individually, it's also a father. So there's all the and a spouse, right? Like you had to deal with these things as well as transitioning to be the best that you can be on a football field, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes that's all secondary to everything else. Because at the end of the day, your kids don't care that you're a football player. You're dead, right?
Yeah. And
um,
unfortunately, this is the real world. Sometimes your job doesn't much care about that stuff going on outside of the building either. And
yep.
that's one thing that I hope that young players and young, ambitious people realize, like, that compartmentalization is a good thing. And I hope that everybody can learn how to do it. But also keeping the main thing, having that balance and knowing that, each and every individual aspect of your life does unite, but people don't care. Facts don't care about your feelings, and the results don't care how you feel. So
Hmm.
just keep on going.
Yeah. Now you have camp coming up. You transitioned from Las Vegas to Miami. I imagine that was an ordeal all by itself, because you're from one side of the country to the other. And
Yes.
was it difficult? Was it, packing and
It's
everything up?
everything that's around me right now. It's boxes and bags and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it was difficult, but I have my wonderful wife and all of the great people that were able to help me transition. Fantastic people here with the Dolphins that were able to assist and throw a few alley oops as far as, just getting literally from one side of the country to the other, a lot of miles, a lot of phone calls, text messages, two
Yeah.
different time zones. So you can imagine how hectic that can get at times. But
Mhm.
all in all, I'm happy to be here in, this new home in Miami, in the Miami area. So, you know, it's been a heck of a transition, but
Yeah.
it's all kind of swamped by the excitement of just being here.
Yeah, so how does okay, obviously you have some idea of how camp goes, and though it's your first year there. I'm extremely familiar with how the Pittsburgh Steelers do camp, and they literally everyone goes to Latrobe and they stay there. How is camp working for you guys?
Yeah, so to my knowledge, we'll be able to like come home in the evenings and stuff like
Hmm.
that. I've had it to where we were obviously my rookie year, it's just like hotel, no other choice.
Hmm.
Um, my second year we could go home if I'm not mistaken, but we did so many joint practices that it didn't really matter because we were leaving town and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Last year we did Costa Mesa, which is in California, I think, to escape the heat of that other place on the West Coast. And then here, like I said, we'll be able to come home in the evenings and stuff like that. But I've heard about all kinds of stuff. I've heard people going
Hmm.
to a whole different part of the country, whole team staying at the hotel. Obviously the Steelers have their places that they do from. I've heard that as well from teammates that used to be with that organization. So
Well, that's
yeah,
good.
everybody
That's
has their.
good that you get to come home because I think I get the isolation part and the locking in, right? And the camaraderie part of it. At the end of the day, you're not being able to see your kids and your wife at night for, a couple weeks is that can be stressful. So,
Yeah.
blessing.
Yeah, there's different way. Everybody has their different thing.
Hmm.
I thank my wife and my kids. They don't cause me really any undue stress. Obviously, they're kids from my kids.
Hmm.
They're kids. They're gonna be kids, but there's nothing that's gonna keep me up at night. Or, my wife is a wonderful support, and is a rarity these days. You know what I mean?
Good. Yeah. Shout out to your wife. Like that support is important. I always see this time of year they get the girlfriends and the wives put together the packages and the baskets and all the things that you guys
Yeah,
need
I
when
think
you're at
that's
camp.
awesome. But I think that I just need to come home and have a listening ear sometimes, and I'll be a
Mhm.
listening ear as well. And I hate to say it like this, but just make sure that like stuff's handled because I'm gonna be out of the house for 12 plus hours. So
Yeah.
how that goes, and she's wonderful about it. And obviously, when the off season rolls around, I'll make sure I'm just as big as a support for her as she is for me. And that's the balance that we talk about that we have to strike as athletes, and then
Mhm.
obviously as spouses of athletes too. So that's what it's
Yeah.
all about.
It's look, it's not an easy job on either side.
It is not.
It looks glamorous, but it is not an easy thing to hold it all down. So shout out to her. I want to talk about something that you've another goal you've accomplished. You set up a foundation. It's the
Yes.
Matthew Butler Foundation, and I want to shine a lot of light, not a little bit of light, a lot of light on it and what you guys have going on there. So please.
Yes, so we are all about the family as it's meant to be. Obviously, everybody comes from different backgrounds and they've had different, maybe quote unquote, shortcomings in their life, or maybe, they've had challenges. And I'm a testament of that. I was once a single father learning how to raise a young lady to be everything that God created her to be. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I had so much support from so many different avenues, whether it be coaches, different administrative staff members at Tennessee, even help from, the other place I was at and whatnot. And I just want to be that help to others and still promote the good godly Christian values that promote the family in the long run. So, even though I'm a single father, like now I'm married and I've had the blessing of having another kid, my son, my namesake,
Mhm.
MJ. And if anybody keeps me up at night, it's that young man. But nevertheless, the blessings that come from that, and be a support for single fathers, single mothers, children who unfortunately may have split families, such as
Mhm.
my daughter, and also promoting the health, the mental, physical, and spiritual health of these young people, these kids. My daughter, she's a type 1 diabetic, and thank God we were able to catch that early and get
Yeah.
her treatment. But one, not everybody knows the telltale signs for maybe type 1 or any other autoimmune diseases or anything like that. And then for two, unfortunately, people don't have the resources to really get on top of it the way that it ought to. So we want to support families and children in that respect, and really be a blessing to any and all who may need that, and while continuing to promote
Right.
the family values that will continue to change the culture and put family back at the forefront of our culture.
I love every part of it, and I want to get deeper into where these resources are for people. Obviously, you have a website you can go to, but what cities are you guys going to be active in?
So obviously, I'm down here in Miami, so we're going to try
Mhm.
to impact the local Miami-Dade, Broward community here. I have strong ties in Tennessee, Knoxville, Nashville as well. We're gonna be impacting those areas, and in Raleigh, North Carolina, where I'm from, we're gonna be impacting those areas. And we truly do hope to impact as many people as we possibly can, reaching out to the extent of however much the Lord blesses us to.
Yeah.
But those are the places we're going to be starting. We're just getting off the ground, but we're swinging for the fences. A great way to continue to follow us as we program and connect is going to be on my social media, which is Matthew Butler, just MatthewButler.94. And then we have the Matthew Butler Foundation, which is the foundation's Instagram. And then from there, you'll be able to see websites, live and in living color, everything that we will be doing over the next few months and hopefully for years to come as time goes on. And those are the best ways to be able to see what's really going on with our foundation, to support and even maybe to give insight as to what communities may need continued help and support. So we're happy with all that, and we look forward to any and all support.
Love it, love it. We'll be sure to put that website in the description down here as well, so people can tap on that as well as visit you guys online in your socials, so you can get that inside scoop of what the foundation has going on. I want to talk to you a little bit more about football.
Of
Um,
course.
n- Now that you're back, you're not back, but you're back on the East Coast, right?
Yes.
Um, and you came from North Carolina. You said you're born in Fayetteville, right?
Yes. Born
Okay.
in Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay. Are you a
Um,
military family or just born in Fayetteville?
Military family.
Ah,
My dad, shout out to him, spent 11 years in the Army. My grandfather spent both my grandfathers spent several more than even 11 years, one having a Purple Heart serving in Korea and the other being a lieutenant serving in Vietnam. Rest in peace to both of them.
mm,
And my father, he's still up and kicking, but strong military ties. We were raised in Spring Lake, North Carolina, on the other side of Bragg. I don't know
okay.
what it's called now, but I'm
I
just
think
going to
it's
call
Liberty or
it.
something. I
Yeah,
don't know. Yeah.
and our neighborhood was right there on the lake. That's why they call it Spring Lake. And behind the lake is Pope Air Force Base. So every morning,
Mhm. Mhm.
five,
Mhm.
five. It's like I don't need an alarm. Like just listen up, you good to go. So yeah, it was
I
it
know
was
the feeling. I grew up on a base. I grew up across the street from a base, so I know.
yeah.
I'm a
And then
military brat as well.
lived in Goldsboro. I think I don't know if they changed their name, but Seymour Johnson was in Goldsboro. So yeah, I mean a lot of military ties. I have a lot of respect for our veterans and our armed services that are still currently serving. That other place I was at, I was able to visit the
Mhm.
Nellis Air Force Base and
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
I don't remember the name of the other one, but I was able to visit both. Phenomenal aircrafts, all the cool stuff. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Now, I want to ask you about mental health. You brought it up when you were talking about your foundation, and I want to talk to it in terms of the game, right? I
Mhm.
feel like it there have spurts of popularity where it's talked about, but I feel like it's not a consistent conversation.
Mhm.
So, how do you one prepare yourself and keep care of your mental health during this time?
So, first of all, it's so taboo to talk about, right?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
hear the same cliche terms and stuff like that. And I joke with you now, as I am getting a quick workout in this morning, I said to myself, I'm not about to let camp stress me out this year. I just can't do it. And the
Yeah.
thing is, I've been cut 3 times. You know what I mean? Like I've had guys around me who are super supportive, and I've had guys around me who sometimes are just a dread to be around.
Mhm.
You have to run your race and you have to set your tone. And like I said, the mental health part is so important, but the reality is important too. And I have to know, and I hope that everybody knows that, like, this is up to you. You
Mhm.
make a decision like, hey, I want my mental health to be sound. I want to be healthy mentally. And you pursue those resources and you find whatever works for you and you find your process and you stick to that process and you build. And like I always say, like you can't be mentally healthy if you're not spiritually healthy, and you
Mm.
can't be those things if you're not physically healthy. You know, it sounds so silly. Take your supplements,
Yeah.
pray, talk to people, your friends, your family, your loved ones. Whatever you love to do, find a way to find some time to do that no matter how hectic your day might be. And you'll see your entire mental health just turn the corner. I guarantee it. And there's all sorts of therapies, there's all sorts of ways to go about your mental health, but I found that to be the most relieving for me and for people around me.
Mhm.
All of us have our little things. Even the most mentally healthy people have their things. And I'm telling you, that routine, finding a thing you love to do, just prayer or whatever, spiritual exercise that you may like to pursue, those things help exponentially.
Are those conversations that, like, you mentioned it being taboo, but is it a time and a place where you can have those conversations amongst your fellow teammates?
I think that's one thing that, like, a lot of people might take for granted. Like, I think that
Mm.
humanity in general, we're highly intellectual, highly spiritual, highly, connected people. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
don't mean to sound weird when I say that because that in and of itself sounds taboo, but we are. Like, let's
Mhm.
just be real here. We talk about this stuff a lot more than I think people might realize. Like, we're not just banging heads and
Yeah.
chugging Gatorade. Like we do talk about things. We do talk. We've had spirited debates. I'm talking about. I've been with the Dolphins for like a month and a half. I've had spirited debates with like 3 of my teammates already, and
That's
I don't
good.
good thing or a bad thing, but it has been good. The other team I was at that has some phenomenal people all up and down the staff and all up and down the roster who I'm friends with, and I pray that I'm friends with for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Had all kinds of wonderful conversations with them about everything from mental health to their families, what they love to do, and what makes them who they are. And I think that that's a very bright spot when you're able to have conversations like that with people. So I do think that that is not even though it's a little taboo, at times, and maybe we don't use those catchphrases or those cliche terms when we have these conversations. The conversations are being had, and like I said, it's a big bright spot.
That's good. I'm glad because I know there's been over time just things that can't be talked about or won't be talked about, won't be shared. That maybe people feel leaves someone else vulnerable or leaves themselves vulnerable. So being able to have, whether it's spirited debates, talk about, I miss my family, I do this, or I need to sit in the corner for a minute to just gather myself. Being able to have those conversations amongst guys that you essentially go to war for on the football field. That's great. I would love if there were more safe spaces to have even deeper conversations like, man, I'm not feeling like myself today mentally. And, I wish you guys had more backing to have those conversations. I'm
Mhm.
not saying that you don't, but I feel like I know for a fact it's not enough. You probably could have more. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a balance because I'm a huge advocate for mental health, physical
Mhm.
health, and spiritual health. At the same time, I just know the importance of, like, and I've experienced it. So I'm not speaking from a blind spot.
Right.
Like I've experienced being able to like fully compartmentalize the literal hurricane that's happening outside
Hmm.
and walking into those four walls and saying, okay, for the next XYZ amount of many hours, like none of that matters. And that's something that, I do love about the game. It's like when you step
Yeah.
into the four walls, nothing matters. And then when you step into those four lines, like matters even less, you know.
Yeah.
And like, and it's great because you have your matchups and you have your schematics and you have your skill and your everything, but it's just like, I get to line up in front of somebody and like, try to physically dominate the person.
Hmm.
Did you lift more than me? Are you stronger than me? Did you run as much as me? Are you more conditioned than me? Even if you are faster than me, can you be faster than me for 10, 12, 30, 40 reps?
Hmm.
And that's the wonderful thing about the game that, you know, does have to be a balance because mental health is important. And in this game, almost nothing's important. It's like, are you going to beat the guy in front of you? It's like that.
Yeah,
That's it.
you got
So,
to. That
that's a thing about the game.
when you put it that way, it almost sounds therapeutic in a sense where, like, again, all the outside noise is out and you're only solely focused on that.
Yeah,
So to me, I could see it, the game being therapy to people that are dealing with a lot of outsideness.
yeah.
So yeah, that puts some stuff in
Believe me, there's a ton of preparation for it and all that that just will
perspective.
drive you off the wall. But it's
Yeah.
like as soon as you step into those four lines, like that's the only thing that matters. And it is therapeutic. It's what makes the game fun for me, just
Mhm.
because nobody would ever know it. Like I don't really try to harp on, whatever challenges I face in life, because whatever I face, there's been somebody who's faced a thousand times worse. But this game has been, you know, a blessing for me in more ways than one. As far as just my life experiences, and I'm very grateful for the game and what God's blessed me to be able to do with this game and with my talent. So,
Yeah, and that takes me back to the foundation. You being in a position to one, recognize that people need help and be able to help them. And I think that is, I appreciate every single time there is an athlete, whether it's a student athlete or a professional athlete, giving back, because there are people, one, looking up and they see, when I get to that position, I also need to do this, which is give back to the people that gave back to me. I know a lot of them look like football camps, and guys constantly put on camps, but being able to pour into the communities, the villages, right? That also get guys and girls into these positions to be professional athletes. The villages, the people taking you to practices, picking you up, feeding you, clothing you. I think that is phenomenal that your foundation is pouring back into the village.
of course, that is the goal ultimately. you know, Whether it's a lot of people focus on like the athletes and whatnot. Not everybody has athletic prowess, but everybody does have a gift from God. And whatever that gift is, you're not going to be able to tap into it truly unless you have somebody around you continuing to build you up and continuing to pour into you, continuing to help you up when you fall down. And sometimes, help you up when you fall down, but also teach you the reason why you fell, so that
Mhm.
you can fall again. So that is the ultimate goal of not only my foundation, but just whomever I have the opportunity to impact. I do try to cultivate what I stand for, who I am into those conversations.
I love it. I love it. Well, I know you have to get ready to get yourself together for camp and spend some time with your family. And I just want to appreciate the time that we had today. And again, tell everyone online where they can follow you. We'll also put the foundation below.
Yes, so like I said, it's Matthew Butler 33. Oh, excuse me, Matthew Butler dot 94. That's going to be my personal Instagram, and then we have the Matthew Butler Foundation, which will be the foundation's Instagram, where you'll be able to see our website and updates. live and live in color from our opportunities to impact the community and try to make this world just a little bit of a better place.
Okay, we're gonna be checking in on you this season. Enjoy camp. Shout out, tell Minka Fitzpatrick we said hey. That's our favorite guy, unfortunately. So we'll be down there at
Yeah.
some point too, or I'll be down there. I'm saying we like it's an entourage. It's just me, down there at some point to visit and check them out there. Check you guys out. But thank you again for joining, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right.